This G'day Crypto, providing you the news with the fast facts. Bitcoin developers want to bring in a Bitcoin improvement program to be able to get rid of ordinals. We need to talk about greed in the marketplace. There is a big G7 meeting happening in Japan later on this week. There is a lot to get into. Just jumping straight into CoinGecko this morning, you can see we're at 1.19 trillion. We're up 1.6% in the last 24 hours, which is fantastic to see. Bitcoin 27.4, Ethereum 18.28, a lot of green in the market. Of course, we're going to hop into the bubbles in a sec. Nice to see Bitcoin up and to the right. We will get into an article where we do talk about how it can be range bound for quite a while, how that is healthy for the market. To have this little pump after such a large pullback over the last week is good to see. Obviously, Ethereum 18.28, nearly up 2%, 1.8 up and to the right. Look how similar these Bitcoin and Ethereum charts look. You could almost overlay them on top of each other. Jumping straight into the banter bubbles here. So there is crypto bubbles. This is banter bubbles. This is my new favorite tool. I just want to show you this when you flick over to the hour. It shows you what's going on. And then if we jump into Radix here and let it load, there's a whole conversation going on with this. And you can find out what is going on in the market. Great way to be able to do up to minute research really quickly before we get into it. I just want to say this video, it's not financial advice. Please do your own research. What we will do is jump into this first article here, and we've got a couple of things going on with Bitcoin at the moment. So Bitcoin developers, a debate is raging over whether to censor ordinals, the BRC20s. Despite calls for censorship, many developers agree that maintaining the status quo is the right thing to do for now. And all the highlights are gone, but what they're saying here is over 14,300 tokens have already been minted, with some with a total supply of 420 quadrillion. Total market cap approached $1 billion earlier this week. Domo, we have talked about him before as well. He created the test token Audi, and when he put it out, said, please don't mint these. They will be worthless. And what's happened since then is Bitcoin's mempool, which is short for the memory pool, the database of unconfirmed transactions has indeed been congested. One time it had nearly 500,000 worth of unconfirmed transactions. And if you compare that to 2022, most of the time it was under 50,000 as well. So there is a proposal to implement the spam filtration here. So longtime Bitcoin developer Luke Descharge, hopefully I'm not butchering that name, sorry brother, created an ordinal spam patch filter in February called the Ord Disrespector that detects ordinal transactions, then rejects them. So the technology is there to be able to get these off the Bitcoin blockchain. I'll give you my thoughts in a second. Descharge chimed in on Sheriff's discussion thread and called for a change in Bitcoin Core that would filter out the controversial transactions, which he also referred to as spam. Action should have been taken months ago. Spam filtration has been a standard part of Bitcoin Core since day one, but at the moment, no change to the Bitcoin protocol or to Bitcoin Core for now, so the minting appears set to continue. There is a Bitcoin mailing list, and they are having quite an in-depth conversation in regards to this. And this is not going to drive away. The reason why they're talking about it so much is people say in Africa, even though Bitcoin is still relatively cheap, and there is a section in here if I can find it, but the transaction fees have pretty much gone up 100x, even though they're still cheap. Places like Africa, that ends up being a lot of money, and they're switching over to things like stable coins, or if they've already implemented it, layer 2 like Lightning, which is good. And this is probably going to push people more and more over to Lightning. So we've got a couple of things talking about custodial solutions and ways to scale as well. Let's just get rid of this guy. All right. So until recently, you could have sent a Bitcoin transaction rather cheaply, probably at a fee rate of 1 Satoshi per VByte. Now, with the rise of the use of NFTs like inscriptions in the BRC20 standard on Bitcoin, normal fee rates are comparatively absurd. At time of writing, get a Bitcoin transaction sent in a reasonable time would cost something like 100 Satoshis per VByte. All things considered, still pretty cheap. So the blockchain had always had scarce space, and there's always a debate when billions and billions of people came on to the blockchain. Would it still be usable, or would it be too expensive? This was definitely a central point to the block size wars in 2015, 2017. And now we have segregated witness SegWit to Bitcoin, also to Bitcoin Cash hard fork. It is noted that SegWit, which solved for transaction malleability, opened up the door to our most recent reason for fees going up. So it is funny how that works. They go on to say, when you're implementing something, you don't know the second, third, fourth order effects down the line. So Bitcoin fees, they skyrocketed because a lot of people want to use Bitcoin, but not to send permissionless sound money, but to be able to speculate. And we need to get into the greed token that has a lot of people upset in the cryptocurrency space. So putting aside the moralistic argument on what Bitcoin should be used for, Bitcoins have never really had a good response to how the network should handle periods of time when transaction fees spike. Canned answers that people just pay for the block space, so the free market will figure it out, is setting up a world where the only people who are able to afford to transact on the network are Bitcoin rich. So it's going to keep on going. Then they dive into some people use custody services, other people won't. And at the end of the day, my thoughts are not your keys, not your coins, but the right custody solution will allow mainstream to be able to get into Bitcoin. Can be a little bit difficult for someone that just wants to buy Bitcoin to then get it off the exchange, hold it, learn about ledgers, whatever it is, putting their recovery seed phrase, hiding it, splitting up, putting it in different countries, whatever way. That's a bit of a steep learning curve. So the right custodial solution is probably a good thing at the end of the day. Now, moving on, Bitcoin regains 27K amid encouraging macro technical signs. This is fantastic. So the stablecoin supply ratio has dropped 11% over the past 11 days, suggesting that buying power for stablecoins may be increasing. We scroll down here, hopeful signs for Bitcoin at 27K. After 7 days of plunging prices, Bitcoin steady. Let's get rid of that ad for you. How's that? Hopefully that's a whole lot better. Bitcoin remains down more than 10% since May 5 when it started its recent swoon, the result of profit taken and low liquidity against backdrop of industry-focused and macroeconomic uncertainties. So the financial markets in general are driven by risk, by liquidity, and so not surprising right now, people are fearing risk assets as a whole. We're seeing large swaths of selling. When there's less liquidity, you are going to have larger swings in price whenever an asset is sold, but there will be more liquidity come into crypto. What they go on to say here is any kind of mistrust in financial systems plays into the hand of crypto. I'm happy to see the correlation fall between traditional risk assets, traditional equities, and crypto. We don't think the market needs a catalyst in the immediate term, he wrote. It is only a matter of time before we see another major rally. I think that's a really good reminder there to be able to zoom out a little bit and have a longer term plan. My belief is we are at the start of the bull run, but the halving's not for another year or about 11 and a half months away, 11 months, 1 week. When that happens, that's the big catalyst. And that'll push out even to 2025, late 2024. So we've got time to be able to stack, and we are trending in the right direction here. Now, greed. This is absolutely insane and goes to show what's happening in the markets with all these meme coins. Lucky this developer here for the greed token was there to teach people a lesson without wrecking them and stealing all their funds, because he definitely could have. So Greed Token is not a crypto scam, but a lesson on how to get scammed amid meme coin mania. Despite multiple warnings from Voshi, the meme coin's creators, speculators turned over Twitter permissions to get access to the token. They got a valuable lesson in account security. In S-Coin Spring, any pointless cryptocurrency with a Twitter account can enchant thousands of traders into playing meme coin musical chairs, throwing money at the wall and reasoning out the window. They let greed get the best of them, sometimes literally. So the past week, social experiment, greed got the best of would-be speculators on Solana. Instead of wealth, they're getting bupkis with the side of public shaming to boot. Pretty full on what happened here. It's crazy. So it's a story that showcased the dark side encouraged by those one-off tales of meme coin riches. For every lucky spectator, up 5 million on Pepe, I'm playing. There are thousands of gamblers losing money to inside traders and bots. Some fall for malicious tokens designed to steal all the money in their wallets. Lucky this developer didn't do that. What Voshi said, he wants to teach crypto traders a lesson, one that focuses on internet security with maybe a dash morality and sensibility too. The thing's called greed after all. It just gets crazy. So a week ago, disenchanted by this parade, he wrote an ironic tweet. This is his tweet here. Are you guys ready for greed? Notifications on. Next post is the most important one for the airdrop. All interactions with this tweet will be recorded. Disturbed but unfazed, he ended up getting 2,000 followers overnight, did another tweet, ended up finishing on about 33,000 followers. Disturbed but unfazed, Voshi leaned in. He told his growing flock to spread his gospel and tweet the message, doing it because of greed to get the token. More tweets there. Now, I created a simple cheat sheet for playing the S-Coin season. Enjoy. Are you the person who created the S-Coin? If yes, congrats, you make money. If not, please see 2. Are you a bot? If yes, congrats, you make money. If not, please see 3. Don't. So a costly airdrop. Voshi, he began building greed. Critically, it would have a freeze mechanism to prohibit holders from ever moving it out of their wallets, making speculation impossible. So he asked them to make it look more red flaggy because it started looking really good. And he wanted it to look really dodgy. Some people did wake up. They became concerned with the questionable security concessions they need to make to get their greed, like handing over their Twitter. Voshi said he was asked, why would I give you all those permissions? Would you give those permissions? His answer, no, never, but his warnings were not enough. So the crescendo came with the greed airdrop on Friday, and it just keeps going. When speculators pressed the claim, 2 things happened. They got airdropped 8 billion greed. So 8,007,320,330 greed. Remember that number. It's very important, and we'll mic drop moment in a sec with it. And their Twitter account automatically tweeted an embarrassing warning to others. Now, that's what it went out, talking about the greed. You will be able to find that there. We won't read it all here. I've always felt, and this is the reason why he does this, I've always felt like if I have the chance to teach them about something, maybe at least few people benefit, and I tend to think it's worth it. And people are telling me that I'm going to get a lot of hate for this and that people are never going to forgive me. So far, so good. Everybody effing loves it. Part of the lesson is knowing how to react. That number, just over 8 billion of tokens people seem to get, it's the phone number for the US Securities and Exchange Commission. So a little bit of an inside joke there. The whole point of going and creating the greed token, people handed over their Twitter permissions. If you're signing up and you give permissions to something, whether it's a wallet, a dApp, Twitter permissions, the person on the back end can go in there and use those permissions for their benefit. So be very careful in the space. And we've got the last one here with the G7 finance ministers. They discuss crypto regulation ahead of Japan summit next week. Now, there's probably going to be a big pivot going forward with crypto and central bank digital currencies as well. So representatives for the 7 advanced economies signaled a commitment to follow norms set by standard setters FSB and IMF on crypto and central bank digital currencies. So Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, hopefully I'm getting that one right, the summit's host this year has said G7 leaders are set to state their joint support for tougher crypto rules. India, as the president of the G20, has been pushing for globally coordinated crypto rules. In Feb, the group said forthcoming global crypto norms will be based on a new synthesis paper jointly produced by the IMF and the SSB. The G7 has indicated it will follow the standards set by the FSB. So we look forward to the FSB's finalization of its high-level recommendations by July 2023. It's going to happen very quick. It's that saying, I can't remember the person that said it. It's like going broke. It happens slowly and then suddenly. And these laws, we're hearing more and more and more. They're going to come out slowly and suddenly. So whatever you need to do to be able to protect yourself, whether that's gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever way to be able to have proper risk to reward and protect yourself in the long term. So we commit to implementing effective reg and supervisory frameworks for crypto asset activities and markets, as well as stablecoin arrangements which are consistent with the FSB's recommendations and standards and guidance established by the standing setting bodies. So the G7 has previously said it will help developing nations issue CBDCs. We'll look to the IMF recommendations on CBDCs set to be published later this year. Please note, the US, UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan, they make up the G7. And this year, with representatives from the EU, Australia, India, and several other jurisdictions will be there. It is going to be a huge meeting. And things can change very quickly in the world of cryptocurrency. And we don't know whether it's good or bad. Some parts will be good, some parts will be bad. At the end of the day, we're going to find out very shortly. We'll see you on the next one. Subscribe if we vibe. Be blessed.